All right, QMJHL fans, welcome back to another edition of our Facebook Live conversations. Today's episode is a very special one because it's a playoff edition one. As you can tell by the screen, we have our guest, Halifax Mooseheads forward, Zachary heureux. So, Zach, thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Pretty eventful 24 hours for you. I guess how we could start off with you telling us how that flight back home was yesterday.
Yeah, pretty relieving coming home. Being able to get it in Sherbrooke, not having to fly home with no more pressure and having to go play another game. But I think we're all the boys are really happy to have a day off today and be able to relax before the finals.
How many days off to rest those little injuries there?
Oh, probably only one and back at it tomorrow. It's probably not going to be too high paced. And hard hitting stuff in practice, but still get the legs moving and making sure we're staying focused and active before the Friday game.
For sure. Now, obviously, being our Monday live conversations, this is Monday, so we just found out that the calendar was out for the final series. So your series kick off on Friday in Quebec City. Looking forward to that. It's going to be pretty close to a sellout crowd there.
Yeah, I mean it's unreal to think about. Probably close to 20,000 fans booing against you most likely, but it's a hockey city. They love their sports there, and it's a great market for us to go be able to play in. And I think we've shown that we excel playing on the road. So I think we just want to go in there and do our job.
We also found out with the calendar that every game will be airing on RDS on the French side, and Eastlink and TSN will also carry in those games. So I'm guessing for you, it's a fun thing to know that people back home in Montreal can watch along for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely special. Playing on national television, it's always special, and you always want to play well and perform well for everybody watching. So I'm sure everybody's going to really want to bring their A game, and we just hope we're on the winning side of the outcome.
First time on national TV for you?
Actually, I think it's probably my second time. The Canada Games ended up winning that I think my year before coming to the Q. So I think that was on TSN. That was probably my first time, and I remember it was pretty special.
Nice, nice. Speaking of TSN, we got the Connor Bedard lottery tonight. So will you be watching? Who's your NHL team?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on it. I mean, now it's probably the Preds, but I definitely grew up always a Montreal fan, and I think they're in the runnings for it. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it.
You fell into the trap. I was like, Montreal kid drafted by Nashville. Which team's he looking out for?
Oh no, I mean, I'm proud of my roots, but I definitely look more at Nashville now.
Awesome, awesome. So you were also featured on TSN. That was an also door opener in the past week because you shook up the playoff in the hockey world because you were eating some mustard on the Halifax Mooseheads bench. So first off, I guess you could explain to people why you did it.
Yeah, basically just cramps. I mean, that's something that been getting. When I get into having to play a lot of minutes in games. Having to get a lot of hits. You're staying active. Your body's cramping up, and I think it's the best solution. It pretty much gets rid of it right away. You usually have to do salts, electrolytes, all the other stuff to make sure they don't come back. But yeah, it's a pretty had a pretty funny reaction there, and but no, it definitely helped.
When did you find out that was the solution for you for cramps? You must have had a few trials before that, I guess.
Yeah, I think actually in midget I played a game. I think we went 7 periods, so it was 3 periods plus an extra four in overtime in the playoffs, and I think that's the first time I really experienced cramps and how bad it can be. And I think someone must have gave me mustard, and ever since that day, whenever I really had issues, I just used mustard. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I've heard of pickle juice, but the mustard one was the first for sure. Now,
Yeah,
obviously,
no,
I'll
I've
go
heard of
for it.
pickle juice too, but I think I'm gonna stick to mustard.
For sure. Now, did you know that? Did you obviously we were mentioning that was on TSN. That was a funny clip they aired, but it sort of blew up. I mean, I know I know as the QMJHL wise. I mean, we got the French's mustard company that commented on the video on Instagram. We got reached out by Fox News that wanted to use the images. So I guess you on your end, how did that blow up through your DMs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of one page after the other started posting it, and I just kind of, messages and people wondering, some people knew what I was doing, some people I just was flabbergasted, no clue. And, in my head, I just thought, I didn't reinvent something. I've seen other athletes do it. So, I'll take the positive media and the people laughing at it. But no, yeah, it was definitely unexpected.
Yeah, crazy. We even saw the Halifax Mooseheads were posting pictures of kids with signs with your face and mustard and all over it. So that's pretty unreal. Guys were had mustard, I guess, cans hanging from their necks. I mean, the fans went wild with it. So it's pretty funny. You're being called Mr. Mustard left and right now.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's had a pretty good laugh at it. I know my teammates love to call me the mustard tiger lately, so it's just been kind of something been sticking around, and I'll see how far it goes.
Speaking of those Halifax crowds, I mean, we all, I'd say the Canada, but also the rest of the world got to see how wild they got during the last World Juniors. Now, you yourself, you get to play some playoff games in front of those wild fans. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's pretty special. I mean, I think they're probably the best fans in Canadian junior hockey. They always show up, passionate, ready to cheer us on, and we go out there and do our jobs and put on a show for them, and they love it, and I think they support us, all the time. We see their support on the road, everything they do for us. It's really special, and there's not a guy in that locker room that doesn't appreciate it. So we definitely appreciate it a lot.
Speaking of fans, I got to throw in a live comment here because we have some family members of yours that are watching here. We have Grandma watching with Uncle David and Uncle Jim, so watch what you're saying here.
Uh-oh, there you go. I figured you'd be watching.
Oh, that's awesome. So basically, I guess people watching also know we know your type of the type of player you are, should I say? So the playoffs is your game. I guess you've been looking forward to that the whole season.
Yeah, it's my first playoffs ever in the Q, so it's been pretty special for me to experience that. And I think I always knew that in important moments I'd be able to step up my game, but I haven't really been able to back up my words up until this year. So it's maybe a little bit of a relief, but it feels good to be able to be playing my best hockey, and have a chance to win a championship and do what we've been saying we wanted to do all year.
For sure. And you just mentioned it quickly there to begin off your answer there, but it's your first year in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's your fourth year in the QMJHL. You're already a sort of a household name among fans across the league, but year four and you would get to hit the playoffs. Now, can you sort of tell us why that is?
Yeah, basically my first year, we had a really, really good team, in Moncton, and probably had a chance to win it all, but unfortunately COVID came around and took that chance away. So basically my first 2 years where there was no playoffs because of COVID, and then unfortunately last year I had to sit out due to an injury. So I had to watch my team, go to war, go to battle, and do come up just short against Bathurst, and I feel like maybe if I was playing, we could have got over that hump. So to be able to come in this year it was really special for me, and be able to play and be healthy was definitely key.
And that's crazy because basically, like I said, you're a playoff type of guy, but basically your last playoffs go back to 2018, 2019. That goes way back. You must be anxious. You must have been anxious, should I say, before kicking off these playoffs.
Oh, very. And I'm not even gonna lie. I thought the first round was definitely not my best round, but I thought I was able to step up in that second round against Moncton, and now I'm just finding my stride and doing what I can do to lead this team towards championship.
And you mentioned it to me basically before we got on air, but against Moncton, you got a pretty special moment scoring your first hat trick. Did you have to play in the playoffs to get a hat trick in this league?
Yeah, no, that's another thing that was kind of on my QMJHL bucket list that I wasn't able to scratch off. I was definitely, I think my dad probably gave it to me the most about, having 15 2-goal games in the league, but not getting that hat trick. So to be able to, get that, against my former team, in that rink too was definitely a pretty special moment for me.
Yeah, that must have been unreal. I didn't even realize it was your former team as well, so that's pretty sick. So for people who don't know, you said last year you didn't play in the playoffs because of injury. So you got injured last March, which sort of ended your season. Ironically, that was against the Quebec Ramparts, so they were the one that kept you out of the playoffs. Now you get to face them in the finals again. Were you looking forward to playing them again? I mean, how's this repeat for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember that, being my last game. They kind of, came into our barn and, really gave us a pretty bad beating for what I remember. And, that's kind of that bad taste that my season ended on. So it's definitely redemption time against them, and want to beat them, do what we can to come out with the victory at the end of the day.
Now, the reasons for you guys wanting to come out on top are pretty obvious, but I guess what I want to know is, do you have any friends on that side? I mean, guys you played with before, or that you're still in contact with?
Yeah, there's definitely a few guys that I still talk to this day. Whether it's growing up playing with, they're still good buddies. So it's definitely special, but it's such a tight league. I feel like there's being here for 4 years now. There's definitely a lot of guys around this league that I got to know a little better. And but no, we respect each other. It's a battle once we go out there, and we know we as close as you can be out of the rink when we go into that rink. It's full war, and may the best man come on top.
Come on, you got to name one guy though. Who's the closest guy you're with there on the ramparts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty close. Agostino and Malatesta, and a couple guys that just grow up playing with. So definitely still keep in contact with those guys.
We'll be on the lookout for the little stick taps and the chirps there.
Yeah, for sure. Who knows? I mean, I can play. We could all play pretty chippy games, so we may want to be ripping each other's heads off by the first period of that one.
For sure, for sure. Now, this is sort of a notorious fact, but basically, when you guys hit your stride in the last series, is ironically when your best player was out of the lineup, Jordan Dume. What do you sort of attribute that turnaround to? Was it the fact that you guys had to rally and make it more of a team effort when he was out?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. I think he's probably one of our best players, on this team. But we knew that, yes, as big as an impact he has, I think we were still such a good hockey team that we could perform and do well without him. I think, a lot of guys on the team that, had to play extra minutes and more important roles definitely stepped up. And I think it was collectively just the whole group, taking a step in the right direction to, lead this team to be able to beat them. And we knew that, having Jordan out of the lineup is definitely going to take a toll on, our offensive, power play, everything. He's such a big tool out there, but we knew that we were also able to, get it done and get the win and still compete with any team in the league, even without him.
And who's basically one of the leaders that sort of stepped up when that news broke out and said, like, you guys got this? Were you guys one of the guys that stepped up? Is it a captain or a coach thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of everybody. I think myself, the leadership group, the guys that have been through this. Rather it's you look at our 20-year-olds and the thing that what they've been through within this league. I
Yeah.
think everybody kind of stepped up and knew that a lot of people kind of turned on us, and after it's 2-0, you just looked at the media everywhere you kind of looked. It was over, and honestly, I think everybody, whether it's the fans, my family members, everybody, friends, everybody thought, that was it. They're too
Yeah.
strong for us, but no, we really didn't roll over. We knew that we just need to focus on what we can do, and we'd have a chance.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, obviously, we know the guys who stepped up. We've seen it at the on tape. But speaking of rallies, I mean, looking at your postseason, it's been a pretty unusual path. If you want, you guys swept the first round, then you lose the first one to Moncton, win the next four, then you lose the first two to Sherbrooke, win the next four. Should we assume that if you guys lose the first three to Quebec City, you're not down and out?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this all week that if you look at the mathematical kind of equation that's been going on,
Yeah.
that maybe that's what could happen. But no, I mean, we don't want to focus on that. I think we want to make sure we can get a win right away, and stack up as many wins as we can to start the series and not lay the foot back at all. I think we have a good chance of winning this, and we just want to do it as fast as possible.
For sure. Now, what do you feel will be the keys to topping the Ramparts? You've played them before. You've seen what they have this season. What do you feel you guys have to do to get through them?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just got to keep playing, inspired hockey that we've been playing for the last, 4 games. Even I'd say, 4.5 games. I think, we've really rallied as a team to make sure everybody's on the same page, everybody's positive. I think we really came together, as a team, making sure everybody's on same page, and I think it's pretty special to see what this group is able to accomplish. So I think we don't want to focus too much on the Ramparts. I think we may have focused a little too much on Sherbrooke and respect them a little too much, and that kind of is what cost us the two first games. So
Hmm.
I think we just want to be able to, focus on what we can control, go into that rink and, hit them, skate with them, be fast, and who knows what the outcome's going to be, but we're going to really lay it all on the line and give ourselves the best shot.
Who do you feel has been the guy who's stepped up the most in the playoffs, or who's been a difference maker for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think our 20-year-olds have probably been our best. Lawrence, Boucher, and Doucette. I think those guys, the way that they've blocked shots, scored big goals, and kind of led our offense in the right direction. I think they're guys that anybody. I think we don't necessarily have the oldest team, so I know myself, as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, how important the 20-year-olds were on the team. So I know that those younger guys definitely look up to them and see that the positive impact they have, and I think that's just going to lead this team in the right direction, not just this year, but for the years to come.
For sure, for sure. And basically yourself, I mean, when you saw your GM go out and acquire Lawrence and then Doucet, I mean, at the deadline there, did you basically feel there was a revival in the team saying, all right, this really means we're going all in now?
Yes and no. I mean, I think if you look at what Sherbrooke went and acquired, what Gatineau went and acquired, what Quebec went and acquired, you're like, yeah, those teams are definitely all in. But I think
Hmm.
we relied a lot on the talent, the skill we already had. We didn't even touch our decor, and
Yeah.
I think the way that they've been playing throughout the playoffs are proving everybody wrong, because I feel like a lot of people judge them going into the playoffs and what they were going to be able to do, and all those guys that stepped up on the blue line are playing unreal for us right now, and it's really showing, and it's all backed up by our brick wall and nets. So it's pretty special right now, and I think we're definitely happy that Cam was able to go get a couple pieces to really form this team.
For sure. And I mean, you were already an established guy, a top six player on that team. I mean, were you selfishly going, oh man, my ice time's going to go down? Or are you pumped that you get some stars to play alongside you as well?
No, I mean it's definitely the only thing I wanted this year was to have a chance to win,
Yeah.
and the Mooseheads definitely put that on the table for us, and I think at the end of the day, I could have played 5 minutes a night up until playoffs, and I still wouldn't care. I just wanted our team to be as focused and as ready as we were going into the playoffs, and to give ourselves the best chance of winning a championship. And that was the sole purpose of my season, the only purpose.
For sure. Now we sort of spoke about the guys that stepped their game up in the playoffs, but we just glanced over the name that you brought up in the brick wall back there, which is Mathis Rousseau. I mean, that guy's just been unreal and lights out. He basically won those last two games by himself, back-to-back shutouts. How unreal has it been, playing in front of that guy? I'm pretty sure the confidence is through the roof when he steps between the pipes.
Yeah, I mean, every time he's back there, you just have so much confidence going into the game. We know that he's going to be giving us big saves, and he just carries our momentum going, and we know that when we give him a lead, we get him a couple goals maybe early. That's when he really plays his best. He's as confident as he can be, he's stopping everything, and it's unreal to see. And we laugh at him because he's such a goalie, and he's not necessarily he's a little more of an oddball, I guess you could say, but he loves it. He's fully embraces it, and he's a great teammate, and we love him in the room.
You got to bring some more on now. You said he's an oddball and he's a goalie. What does that mean?
Oh no, he's always focused, doing little things on himself. It's rolling his feet out, eye things. He's always stretching. He's just one of those typical goalies. I mean, anybody that plays hockey kind of knows that they can be a little bit of a special breed. But he's whatever he does works for him, and we definitely appreciate it.
Now, how's the talk been with him going back to back shutties? Obviously, it's classic in the hockey world. You don't bring up shutouts, especially not to the goaltender. But I mean, he goes back to back shutouts to win the series. I mean, he had four shutouts during the regular season. Now he has three in the playoffs. I mean, is that something you guys talk about? How unreal he's been?
Yeah, we try. I definitely try not to bring up too many numbers with him. I just he Yeah, I remember after last game, just getting in the room, just giving him a big hug and just being like, you're like the best goalie in the world right now, and I just love you and keep it up. That's all you can do. You can just be positive with him, make sure that he knows that you have his back, and that's all you can really do. We can't really ask much more of him right now, that's for sure.
Now you brought up the big hug. I can't forget to mention that basically Halifax tweeted out today that you were giving hugs out to the team's bus driver. What happened with that whole situation yesterday?
Yeah, no, it was that was a tough one when I found that out. I basically first play like for I get on the ice. There's 30 seconds played. First time I touch the puck, I chip it right in the stands and I hit the bus driver in the face. I mean, I think the last time I got a penalty for doing that was in my first preseason game for Moncton. So that goes to show like I never make that mistake, and I ended up making it my first time touching the puck in game 6. So happens, whatever. But when I ended up going in the room after the game, found out the bus driver ended up eating it right in the eyes, and he had glasses on, and he was all split and cut open. So obviously, I felt just horrible. Got his number, was able to shoot him a text, see if he was okay right away, and then he ended up being at the hotel for when we got back. So I was able to give him a big hug and make sure he was doing fine. So yeah, no, happily he's not too injured, a little battle wound, but he'll be there to drive our bus and support us for the
Yeah,
rest of the way.
I was gonna say for people watching it online, the only reason we're smiling and laughing is because we all know he's good. He's
Yeah, he's
fine.
fine. He's fine. He's all right now.
It's funny because you mentioned the odd part is you basically getting penalized for putting the puck in the stands, but I find the odd part is that it ends up hitting the bus driver in a packed barn in Sherbrooke. I mean, that's probably the
I
only guy who
know.
was rooting for you.
Exactly, exactly. It could have hit anybody else and it ended up just going right at him. So yeah, no, it's bad luck, that's for sure.
That's unreal. That's unreal. We were talking about depth players and your goaltending. I mean, a guy I want to bring up is one of your defensemen there, Owen Phillips. He's been stepping up in the playoffs. Ironically, he set a franchise record for most points by the rookie defenseman in one of your games against Sherbrooke. He had 3 assists in that game. We saw him manning the power play in the past few games against Sherbrooke as well. What can you say about his play?
Yeah, I mean he's definitely one of the big pieces and one of the big reasons why we were able to get through Sherbrooke. And him stepping up as a 16-year-old is fun to see. As an older guy, that it's not easy coming in as a 16-year-old. That there's going to be some ups and downs and some moments where it's going to be tougher, and especially in playoffs when the game gets more physical and you're usually 16-year-olds are just naturally smaller guys. But I think what he's been able to do with his game and step it up for us, and like you said, he mans that second power play. That's been really good for us. And whether it's him alongside Jake Furlong and these other veteran defensemen that are able to kind of lead him in the right direction, it's fun to see. And like I said, it's just part of that decor that's been really unreal. And been stepping up big for us.
Yeah, and you mentioned the decor. Another guy I wanted to bring up is another guy who had a 3-point game to clutch it out for you, which is David Morovich. I mean, what have you seen from this guy? He's been sort of the silent but deadly type for all year for you guys.
Exactly. I mean, I think that kind of speaks a lot. He's a European guy. Coming in. He doesn't necessarily speak the language too easy, so he's not definitely a guy that's easy to communicate with. But he comes in with a smile every day. He's a great teammate. He loves being part of this team, and for him to come in, score 2 unreal goals, big goals for us. I think everybody was so fired up for him, and when you see a guy like that step up big, it's just special. And yeah, definitely put a smile on my face.
We've got a relative here, I guess, Michel Leroux, who's asking when does Why Not come back? You have any updates on that?
No update yet. I mean, I'm sure he'll when he's ready to be back, he'll come back. So yeah, definitely nothing I can say to update.
For sure, for sure. Everyone's nursing a little something here. So before I let you go, I want to mention basically you were a first round pick of the Nashville Predators. So I guess at this time of year, all I want to know is that are they in touch with you? Do you know if they're following your playoff run? How's that conversation been with them?
Yeah, they definitely have been. I've they were able to come and see a few games in the playoffs, and they've are always hitting me with a text message saying good game, and making sure I'm doing okay. And it's just kind of shows how much of a class organization they are and how much they care for their prospects, and how much I think they have a trust and a care in me. So it's fun for me to see, and pushes me to want to compete and do my best every day.
For sure, for sure. And like you said, I mean, you feel involved, you feel like they're watching, so it's always reassuring for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I said that was the last thing I wanted to mention, but basically, usually the icebreaker we do with the boys here are two simple questions. We want to know what your nickname is in that locker room and the reason why you chose to wear a number. And your number is 66, so it's pretty particular. So you're going to give us both answers there.
Yeah, no, the boys call me Happy. You know, if anybody knows French, basically my last name in French means happy, so it kind of sticks. And I think I'm usually a guy that has a smile on his face most of the time, so I think it suits me pretty well. And 66 is definitely a number that gets a lot of talk around the league. But it has nothing to do with the great Mario Lemieux. I mean, all respect to him, but he was before my time of watching hockey, and
Mhm.
much as you do know about him. But I think me, it was just my mom growing up playing sports. She played basketball and other sports. She always wore number 6. So ever since I was young, I always had a 6, or in summer hockey when you can kind of pick any number, I was always 66. So it was kind of something that stuck along the entire way. And up until when I got to Halifax, as a 17-year-old, I was a little nervous asking for that number, but I was happy they were able to give it to me. Don't know if it's going to stick around going pro, but definitely a ward as long as I could.
Hey, you could either stand out with 66 if you go pro, or wear 6 as a forward. That stands out as well. So no worries there.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I think I may just have to go my own route and hopefully, create my own legacy with a new number. So who knows?
There you go. There you go. 60 might be available. That's for sure.
No, that's Russo's. I can't be stealing that number. He can keep it.
There you go. All right, Zach, that's all the time we had. So I want to thank you again for doing this. Obviously, busy time of the year for you. So we'll wish you the best heading into the finals. Hopefully, you get to see your dreams come true there at the end there.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries. So for people watching online, Zach's going to do the same interview on our French Facebook page beginning in just a few minutes here. So if you want to switch to that, feel free to tag along. If not, all the best, Zach.
Thanks.